So Heidi, it's really an honour to talk to you and to have you here for an interview for Revival magazine. Thank you so much.
Thanks, Alice.
So I just want to talk to you a bit about your ministry, Iris Ministries, your life's work, and I guess just see what God's doing at the moment with you. So first of all, I just wanted to ask, you must encounter a lot of need with the people in Mozambique that you're meeting all the time. What are the real, I guess, needs that they have that you try and minister to with your team?
Most definitely the first need of the people that we contact in the unreached people groups is they need Jesus. They need to know salvation. And so we're always coming in first to lead them to know Jesus as their Lord and Savior. But then the place that we work is northern Mozambique. Iris works in 30 nations all over, but our whole DNA of our movement is go low and slow, go to the poorest, go to the darkest places. So because of the nature of our movement, we literally place ourselves in the most extreme situations. So even now, on purpose, like I spend 3 days a week in the dirt on purpose. I just sit with the poor. It keeps me grounded. It keeps me, understanding the low places. And I just sit with the homeless, with the poor, with the broken, with the widows, and just listen to them. They need water, drill wells. We have to drill wells. The old widows need houses. Many of them live like just under a tree or like under a partial roof, and they get hot and they get cold and they get wet in the rain. And so we just build houses. Teams of us build houses. I guess, it's kind of important that sometimes people know this. Sometimes people know you, or I've even had prophets say weird things to me like, now you're going to move on, you're going to move on, or now God's graduated you. And I think they totally missed it, because my great joy is sitting with these old widows and these little kids and just watching God show up. I love just the rawness of holding one old lady in my arms and just loving her. There's no cameras and there's no razzmatazz and there's no book tables, and it's just life, And they need God to show up. They need material possessions like a bed. They don't even have a bed, So my life, I'm only one tiny woman. There's thousands of us now in our movement, thousands of us. And we're all every day just stopping for the one.
I've heard you say that phrase before, stopping for the one. So how does that work out in your life? And how can it work out in other people's lives to stop for the one? It sounds, I guess, immediately you think, oh, that's impractical. I guess with Western busy lives, people are used to heading where they're going, but how can people stop for the one?
I feel like it's a mandate from heaven on my life to just cry out that revival has a face, and that all of us are called to first stop for the one who is the one. We're called to stop for God. That's in the Western world, Eastern First World. People are so busy doing their stuff. They're making money. They're matching their towels and their sheets. They're just doing their stuff. They're getting married. They're doing their stuff. But we have to stop first for the one who is the one and let him love us. Just let Daddy love us. Let him fill us up. And so first, by saying stop for the one, I'm saying stop for the one who is the one. And then I want to challenge every son, every daughter, everybody who says they're a believer in Jesus, that every day they can stop for one person. It's actually not impractical. I mean, it might be impractical. I don't like the word crusade, because I work with Muslims. I work with Messianic Jews. The word is just, but that big meeting, that big stuff, the big what I call the razzmatazz, the big stuff, that is impractical most of the time. That's so expensive, and of course sometimes we're called to do it, but everybody who loves Jesus on this planet can stop for somebody every day. You can stop for an old man at Target. You can stop for somebody sitting there drinking a stale coffee for hours, just hoping somebody might just talk to them. You know, you can go and love somebody every day. Just make that a goal, to go and just care about somebody you don't know, or go stop for somebody who's lonely or hurting or broken, and maybe even a Christian friend. You know, a lot of people in church, I noticed, are so lonely. I was just in another nation, and normally I'll pray for the sick when I start, you know. I'll worship and then pray for the sick, and God said, I just want you to have them greet each other and hold each other and find out each other's names. And it was this big, huge, massive meeting, and all the overflow rooms are full, and everybody's just jammed in there. But there were people lonely, and I felt that. And so I did the same. You know, you don't say to do something you don't do yourself, you know. So I was just holding this girl, and I'm like, what's on your heart? And she just started sobbing. I'm so lonely. And she was a Christian. She was in a big, huge meeting. She was there with so many people, and she was just dying from loneliness. And I think we need to reach out. We need to stop for the one every day.
I wanted to ask you about, recently you've just got a new plane and a new boat.
Yeah, well, a used boat, built in 1976, but it's new to us.
Yeah.
We like it.
So, what happened to your old ones, and what are you now doing now that you've got a new a plane and a boat?
Disaster basically happened to the old ones. We were reaching this place. We're going to the unreached people groups. Like, we're compelled to do it. We go in trucks, we go on foot, we go in Land Rovers, we go in canoes, you know, we go in every kind of way, because we're just passionate as a movement. I'm talking about thousands of us, not just me. Always talking about thousands of us. And we just like go out there to find the broken, you know, find people that need God. And so the boat was really important. The plane was really important, because we could get to places you can't get by car. You can't get by I drive a 4-wheel drive old Land Rover. It's like a 10-year-old tank Land Rover with a snorkel. And I have a snorkel so I can get through rivers. I mean, I'm talking, we radically go to hard places. And but some places I can't get to with my snorkel Land Rover. It won't go across the bay, you know. Mm-hmm. So we had this boat, and really long story short, we went in a really bad storm. The captain said it was fine. It wasn't fine. He shot the flare sideways. The boat was sinking, both engines underwater, covered, like all the electronics covered and fried. And I was stranded there. Mercifully, my friends built me a house, and they were presenting it to me. It was my favorite house. It's a beautiful mud hut. That they said, we built this, Mama, so you can stay here forever. And I mean, come on, that rocks. I just love it. They built me a big latrine, and it's just so cool and so much love. And but that's the place where my boat sunk, and didn't like totally go underwater, just toasted the engines and electronics. So it's really crazy hard to get back. Like, went back on a little man-made boat on one log, mm-hmm. and then got onto my half-sunken boat, and then got into a dinghy with duct tape and filled up to my knees. I'm praying with my brothers. I'm there with my son Dilo, Pastor Jose, and Mario, and it was just a crack up. I mean, the whole thing was crack up to our knees in water. This is after we've sunk. Wow. Boat 1, then boat 2, now boat 3, and we're up to our and then we're praying, and God sends a boat along. This is a great story. God sends a boat along, and I'm bargaining for how much to pay. Like, how much am I going to pay this guy? And I didn't like his price, so I told him, no, I'm not paying you. And he took off. He left us. So then the water was like up to our upper thighs. And my friends, my son and my two friends are all like crying out, God, help her, give her a brain. So we call back the bird poop boat, which is what I call it. It's like full of bird poop. It's an ugly boat, really ugly boat. Call them back. I say, look, I'll pay you any price. And God really spoke to me that we pay any price to reach the lost, any price. It doesn't matter what it costs. It's costly. It's going to cost us everything, actually. But we pay the price. What would you not pay to be rescued? We're going to die in the middle of the ocean. How stupid to worry about 1,000,000 Mets, So I'm like, okay, we'll pay you. And as soon as I said that, he rips the cord for the engine to take off, and the boat blows up like the engine. Bam! It was totally,
No way.
So now we're rolling at the bottom of the bird poop boat. We're rolling in laughter. We're crying and laughing like no one would believe this. This is now 1, 2, 3, 4 boats. This is now 4 boats. He's like, I don't know what happened. My boat's never had a problem. I'm like, yeah, it's our problem, no problem. We know you've never had a problem. He had no oars. Oh. So we're about to crash into this big rock, crazy big black rock. I mean, we're certain death. It's just nuts. And I'm praying, and we're all shakarabarayata. We're praying in tongues, laughing, praying. Just preached on Ezekiel 47, deeper still, So then we're praying out, and I see this boat in the distance, and they're coming towards me, and it's like this little tiny fisherman boat, 1 log, and it's got 6 fishermen in it, and we're blowing our whistles. By now we have life jackets, whistles, water. We got smart, Mm-hmm. Blowing whistles, and they approach, and I look in the boat, and there's 6 naked fishermen. I'm like, oh God, seriously, this has got to be a joke. They got little stringy things on, but I go, oh, Jesus, my rescuers, Lord. And it was the coolest thing. What happened was the coolest thing ever. One of them jumped off in the middle of huge waves and crazy weather, swam to the shore where they had a village, swam through crazy huge waves, and brought back shorts. Can you believe that?
Wow.
Yeah, they honored me. They weren't Christians. They were people of another faith. Put on shorts so that I wouldn't be have to sit there in the boat with them with no clothes on.
Mm-hmm.
Long story short, we get in the boat, it starts tipping over, and as soon as they pull up the sail, they went, ho, 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 and they pull up this sail, and as soon as we caught the wind, we were saved. Mm-hmm. We were saved. We were safe. And God really spoke to me, we have to position ourselves to catch the wind. Position ourselves so we can get to the other side. And the other side for me was my village called the Village of Joy. And I got to the other side because of the wind of the Spirit. I led all those 6 fishermen to Jesus. Wow. They met him. They got touched by God. I had a Gideon Bible in my little pack, and I gave it to one who could read. So when I'm thinking of all that, and I'm thinking now my boat sunk, and Rollins lost his memory, and it's a really hard time in the natural, and then God just said, I'm going to give you a ship. And I'm like, wow, that's awesome. And then I knew we would get another boat, a bigger boat, and then a ship. We would get this massive ship. I'm still going to see a massive ship, like a freighter ship God's going to give us. Mm-hmm. So we just contended for it. We prayed for it. And it took over a year, but we got this boat. It was called Miss Patricia. It's now called Iris Compassion. It was the King of Spain's, and it now belongs to the King of Kings. And all my kids, my little kids that were orphaned and abandoned, and now they're King's kids. So, first thing to dedicate the boat, we get all the kids on there, jumping and dancing and lying out on the beds. We ripped out the King's quarters, put in 8 beds, Mm-hmm. We sleep 22.
Wow.
And we just reach the unreached people groups with this boat. We worship God, and we just love him. And, You know, it's got massive, massive engines, and so even if one blows up, we're still good. We'll get to the other side. So that's how we got the new boat. Roland got his mind back completely. Crazy miracle of God. The gray matter grew back in his brain.
Wow.
God restarted Roland's brain. He not only restarted his brain, but he gave him the ability to fly again with this plane, because we can go a lot faster and further. We don't slow down, we just go faster and further. So we got to this place, and they were all people of another faith. So we're honoring the chief. We got there with the plane, honoring the chief, honoring the queen. She brings a lady with 2 white eyes to the meeting that night. Our team prays for her. Our prayer team's like little kids, you know, 2-color flip-flops, no badges, no, you know, no tables. We're just like, we're just out there, you know. So our team prays, and she doesn't see. But she goes home that night in her mud hut. She's in her mud hut, and she's got 2 white eyes, right? Queen brought her 2 white eyes. She goes to her hut. Bam, middle of the night. Bam, white light opens up. Her eyes, this is so exciting.
Wow.
This is our cool life. Her eyes open up. She can see, and then she sees 2 white doves come down from heaven, come down from, she said, like from her roof, with flowers in their beaks, and land on her shoulders.
Wow.
This lady cannot read, cannot write, has no water, no electricity in her hut, does not know the Bible. She's only been to 1 Christian meeting in her life, which was ours. She got powerfully saved. The queen got saved. The villagers came to Jesus, and that's what we're doing with the plane. So that's what we're doing with the boat, the plane, and Roland's flying it, and yeah. So don't give up when things are rough, you know. Don't ever stop.
Yeah.
Except for the one.
Yeah. Wow. Heidi, it's been so great to talk to you. I love your stories. I just love hearing you talk. And so thank you so much. Thanks for taking the time to come in.
I pray you're blessed and filled up. Oh. More. Fill her up, God. Just pour out your glory on her. Use it, Lord.